Alright, so in this video, essentially I'm just going to go over restoring a vehicle I retrieved from the barn and flipping it for a profit. Now, quite honestly, you can purchase a vehicle from the junkyard and, restore that vehicle from there. And you will also turn a profit. You'll probably turn a larger profit that way as you pay less for the vehicle up front. However, this way, for people who may not have the credits to do that. So, just to get started here, since I took it to the car wash and cleaned it up, I like to start out by doing that myself. As you can see how that paint job looks, and usually looks pretty good. I mean, honestly, it's probably just looks that way. I'm sure the body parts are pretty degraded, but usually they look pretty good. Anyways, instead of taking apart this engine while it's in the vehicle, what I like to do, if you have the correct point in your tree, you could use what's referred to as the engine crane. And utilizing the engine crane, you could pull out the engine. So first of all, before we do that, okay, so what I like to do is utilize the engine crane, and using the engine crane you could actually pull out the engine. That's assuming you do have the points in it, like I mentioned earlier, but that's assuming you do have the points in the tree. So before I do that, what I'll have to do is drain the oil. Sometimes I forget about that. And we're just going to pull out that engine, run over here to the engine stand, which I believe comes with the same point that you would invest into your tree to get the engine pull-out utility thing back there. You have to excuse me. I once again didn't get much sleep at night because of my lovely neighbors. But let me see. Hemi. Now, if you see here, I have a V8 Hemi 440 6-pack, which pretty cool engine. Normally, what I could do is just take this engine that's already, built, and use it in that vehicle. As if you look over here, you're going to find that you could use a number of different engines. Now, in this case, it did come with that same engine, which would be the V8 Hemi 440 6-pack. And before, I already have one of those. I already built it up previously, just in case I needed it for a future build in the future. So, yeah, we can use that in order to put in this vehicle. As you can see on this list, it is an engine that is accepted, but you also see these other options here, and those are just other options for different engines you could actually put into this vehicle. Now, if you do choose a larger engine that is what's already in there, such as the V8 2-carb OHV supercharged, it can yield you more credits in the end when you do sell the vehicle. So that is something you might want to consider. However, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use the engine it came from and demonstrate the rebuild. So we'll go with this one. And essentially I'm just going to tear apart this engine and go ahead and repair the parts. I'm just going to fast forward over this, as this can be very boring. So enjoy. Alright, so as you can see there, I did finalize the tearing apart of the engine and the repairing of all the engine's hardware. So before we could put it back on the engine stand over there, we have to go ahead and reinstall it into the vehicle's frame. Then we can go over here to the engine crane and pull out the engine again. And that will give us the ability to install the engine to the engine stand again. So now I'm just going to go ahead and purchase some parts as needed for this vehicle and go ahead and get started rebuilding it, as you can see. Now, I would like to mention that if you do buy the performance parts from the performance store, which I'll show you here in just one moment. Looks like I'll need one of these, but if you do go here to the tuning shop and purchase the parts here, you will also get more credits when you resell the vehicle after restoring it. With that being said, I am now going to finalize the rebuild of this engine, and I'll go ahead and fast forward through that as well. If you would like to see it, slower motion, you could always go ahead and slow down the video playback, and that'll allow you to see it, step by step. Alright, so as you can see here, I did go ahead and get that engine rebuilt. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pull the engine from the engine stand. And we can go back over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and input the engine. Now you can see it's 100%. We'll just go ahead and put that in there. And now we have a brand new engine. And what I'm like to do now is just lift up the vehicle. It looks like I did forget to take out some of the wheel components here on the driver's side. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these parts here real quick. And now we have no parts in it. So now what I like to do, just to make it look fancy, and get 100% on this this frame portion here. You see how it's at 94? What you could do to get that to 100 is just move this welder over and use usually a little bit over 1,000 or so, depending on the frame. I'm just going to move that back, and you can see now it's 100%. So got that taken care of. We've already removed all of the engine components from the bottom as well as the tires. I did that earlier, so that's why it wasn't in the video. But I'm just going to go ahead and see if I could repair those that I just removed. Thankfully it looks like I can repair a few of those. Normally you would just be going through usually about 3 to 5 pages of parts once you tear them all out and repairing them. And we're just gonna lift the frame up on the stand, as you can see here, and start reinserting parts. Now in this case I am going to be missing some of these parts, actually probably most of these parts, so you will see me purchasing the needed parts as I go. But I will go ahead and fast forward through this part. It shouldn't take quite as long as rebuilding the engine, but it can get kind of repetitive and boring at times. So I'm just going to fast forward through it. Again, if you'd like to, feel free to slow down the replay, and that will allow you to get a better idea of exactly what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm just going to slow down the video a bit here just to demonstrate something here. Now, you see over here how you got this color in the corner. Now, that is another attribute you could add to your tree in order to be able to paint not only vehicle parts, like the body parts as you can see over there, but you could also paint things like the brake calipers, like here, and that'll make it so it looks different when you put it on, such as this. Okay, how it's black instead of silver, kind of looks cool. But in order to do that, all you would do essentially is just head out through here, head into the paint shop. This is assuming you have access to the paint shop. And you would go over here, Let's exit that. We're just gonna go to the option to paint apart. It looks like we're just gonna have to move this vehicle on out to the entrance and come back over here. We're just gonna paint apart, and you can see it'll give you a list of parts that you would be able to paint. There are 67 pages, so I'm not going to go through them all, but this kind of gives you an idea of all the parts you can go ahead and paint and essentially customize the look of your vehicle. But, yeah, go ahead and fast forward through the rest of this. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and acquire the tires and rims. Now, on a lot of these vehicles, primarily the kind of racer type of vehicles, you're going to notice that they have a different size rim and or tire in the front and rear of the vehicle. Such as you can see here for the vintage race tire in the rear, it's a 245/65/14 ratio as opposed to the front, which is 225/70/14. Honestly, in my opinion, it disrupts the steering of the vehicle, and I don't much care for it, but in this case, since we're just restoring the vehicle and reselling it, I'm just going to put on what came stock with it and call it a resale. But go ahead and clear those out here, and I'm just going to go ahead and check in my warehouse to see if I have a Rim Retro 7B14. I think I might have one of those in there. Oh, look at that, I have two of them. We could take both of those. So we'll need to purchase two of them, however, in the market here. And the rims are actually one of the parts you could paint if you so choose to over in the paint shop, as I showed you earlier. So we're just gonna close out of that, and we're gonna go 245/65/14 vintage. So what I would point out is you're probably always going to want to change the size first, as depending on the size it will affect the width and the profile of the tire. That part I tend to forget quite often myself. 70, 14. And get 2 of those. And here we're just gonna install the tire to the rim, remove that, and we'll go ahead and install another 245. While we're working on that, we can go over here and balance. Essentially, you're just going to use the A key and the C key, I believe, in order to navigate left to right to rebalance the tires. I like to do it simultaneously as it saves on time. The faster you get the vehicle restored, the more money you can make. So, always makes sense to aim to achieve faster times. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and install these tires here. As you can see, I will be putting on the larger tires on the back. And I like to just click over here. Makes it a little bit quicker when installing the tires. And a lot of times we'll be able to click over to the front. But, for some reason it's not allowing us to do that in our instance. Let me check and see if maybe yeah, it looks like I forgot the inner tie rod. That would prevent it from happening. Install that there. And then we're gonna bring that on down. Alright, so now that we got all the parts installed on the bottom of this vehicle, I'm gonna go ahead and start tearing apart the body. So you can see a lot of them, though it looks brand new, if you look in the upper left hand corner, you could see the state at which it's in. A lot of them are in yellow and green, it looks like. So honestly, that's pretty good for a car you pick up for the barn. And especially if you were picking it up from the junkyard. That would be amazing. Now, when I'm doing these restores, usually what I'll try and do is just achieve 100% for the glass, at least, of the vehicle. Sometimes I'll slip up a little on the glass or the body, you know, just making sure it's green and resell it that way. But you do always want to keep in mind that the better quality, the more credits you get when reselling. So, with that in mind, I'm just going to go over here and repair these body parts. Not going to fast forward through it, as not really that much body parts to work on here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and reinstall the body parts. And we'll hold off on the glass and the lights here for a moment, as those parts I'm just going to go ahead and purchase new. We'll just add those to the purchase list. I'm sure you've seen that before. And license plate. Normally, I'm not too concerned about the shape of the plate. It's really by choice, but for the purpose of this video, I think I'll go ahead and purchase one. And for the license, just going to go over here, there, and there. So, just going to install that license there. Windshields here. And now let's see what condition those are in. That's in 69, so we'll add that to the list. And 72. We're going to go ahead and add that one as well. Now these lights I neglected to take out before, so we will want to take those out. They are in the green, but again, for the purpose of this video, we will want those to be 100. Now, what I'm also going to go ahead and point out here is, see how this car is a Chieftain Bandit. So what I'm going to do, because a lot of times I'll save the body parts in my warehouse, so I can go back over and utilize those body parts with that particular make and model of vehicle. So we're working with a Chieftain Bandit. So we're just going to type in that name here. And that gives us about 2 parts, both of which we already have. So that's not going to help us in this scenario, but sometimes it could save you a little money if you scout parts from both the junkyard as well as the barn and repair those parts. You could store them in your warehouse and use them later. Comes in handy. Purchased that already, if I'm not. And yeah, purchased that. So we'll just go ahead and install these new headlights and install the new tail lights. And now let's just check to see. Well, the body's at 99. That's good enough. Frame's at 100%. The parts are at 94. And the interior, what we're going to do about that is we're just going to move the vehicle out to garage entrance A. And I always make a mistake of doing that. And we're just going to go ahead and disassemble parts inside the vehicle. Like so. Simple. what I like to do here is just go to Assemble, and if you look on the bottom there, it'll give you an option to add to shopping list. Just press X and it'll add each of these parts. Normally what you could do is just right click and add it to your shopping list. For whatever reason, when you're in the interior view, it doesn't allow you to do that. So you would have to use that shortcut at the bottom. But now we're just going to go over to interior and the steering wheel as well as the seats. Assemble. What was that seat made? Alright, so now if you go over here, the interior is at 100% now. So essentially just going to go over here. So we're going to make a profit of $51,210, and the total sales for the vehicle will be at $83,700. So we're just going to go ahead and click sell, and as you can see, my credits have went up from the starting. I believe it was around 290 something thousand. Now we're sitting at 362,241. So we have made quite an improvement as far as finances goes. And with that, this will be the end of the video. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you guys next time. Thank you.